to talk about best practices addressing governance, social, and environmental issues. And we believe that by leveraging the power of the NYSE community, we can help raise all boats.
Joining me to talk about the public markets is Ron Bohlert, listing lead of real estate with the New York Stock Exchange. Ron, let's start by talking about the U.S. equity markets. With about a quarter of 2022 in the books, how would you describe how things are looking?
Looking at this year, with about a quarter in the books so far, we have both the S&P and the Dow off about 6%, depending on the day, with a little bit of fluctuation. The VNQ down about 10%, so some underperformance in the real estate space. And the backdrop is pretty different. If you look a couple of weeks back, we had the Fed add 25 basis points to the Fed funds rate. Fed Chair Powell indicated at least 6 more hikes this year, and recently added to the commentary that we might see more than 25 basis points on one or multiple occasions. So increased pace of this interest rate increase over the year. We also have asset purchases winding down, inflation at 40-year highs, and on top of that now the conflict in Ukraine adding to supply chain issues and then increasing inflation across a lot of commodities. So not surprising, this year we're seeing a lot more volatility, a little more instability across the equity markets, but hopefully things quiet down a little bit in the months ahead.
Now, looking specifically at REITs, what are you seeing in the way of market appetite for new listings?
So again, if you look at last year, limited volatility, the markets performed well. We had the VIX in the 15 to 20 range, which was very accommodative for new listings. We saw 100 new listings on the New York Stock Exchange in terms of IPOs, but we also saw 180 SPACs, which raised about $120 billion. A very limited activity in the REIT space, though. That being said, we did see about $28 billion in follow-on offerings in the REIT space as people took advantage of the better valuations in the marketplace to raise some capital. This year, though, with the volatility, VIX is running in a 30 to 35 range throughout the majority of February and March, which makes it very difficult for companies to get on the road and accurately price their deals, just because of that uncertainty going on. So we have seen a definite slowdown across broader IPO activity as well as REIT activity, but hopefully things quiet down in the weeks and months ahead again.
And can you talk a little bit about the launch of NYSE's Sustainability Advisory Council and what's it looking to accomplish?
The idea is that the council will bring together select sustainability professionals and within the NYSE community, which spans about 2,400 listed companies, to talk about best practices addressing governance, social, and environmental issues. And we believe that by leveraging the power of the NYSE community, we can help raise all boats in identification, development, and adoption of best practices in organizations of all sizes. And the NYSE and Intercontinental Exchange, or ICE, together we offer a powerful array of data, tools, and markets to provide transparency into ESG risks, opportunities, and help enable companies to make better decisions in talking about sustainability issues.
And lastly, Ron, Nareit and NYSE are excited to once again be back in person for the REIT IR Symposium this June. What should attendees expect from this year's event?
So we are very excited to be once again partnering with Nareit for our 6th annual in-person NYSE Nareit REIT IR Symposium. It will be taking place on June 6th, right before Nareit's REIT Week. And without spilling the entire agenda, we do plan to have my colleague Doug Yones, who is our head of exchange traded products, talk about ETFs, their role in REIT investing, and a little bit about how ETFs operate in the marketplace. We think that could be very helpful for REIT investor relations officers who are dealing with an increase in the passive investing in their stocks. Separately, we will be talking to a couple of REIT management teams about ESG, but more specifically, how you're going to talk about and how communicate your story to investors. It's a little bit different than just having a great story, but how do you talk about that to the investor community?